5, 16, 19, 21, 30, 3 and 10. Check results. You remember?
God damn, man. McDonald's behind me. You know, it's a staple. It's a world staple food. You know, rich, poor, I'll never stop. I'm keeping that there. You know, it grounds me. Um, God damn, West Ham won a European trophy. Who could have believed it? And because of that, because that happened, and I mean, anyway, we already know, but Jared Bowen is on fire, and he is also shagging Danny Dyer, the daughter one. Not that there would be anything wrong with shagging the older fella, but that, you know, it would make more headlines probably. You know, should it though? Um, it's should it? It would be funny, not simply because it is Danny Dyer, and that I don't want to imagine that man in sexual relations with any other person. I mean, he created another offspring, so it's possible. I actually find Danny Dyer. He is a funny bit of art to look. He's modern art. You know, I don't like modern art. I wouldn't have it in my house. Maybe. Okay, this is sounding too literal. Like, I'm not talking directly about Danny Dyer. I have him in my home. I have no problem with Danny Dyer. I just modern art. I maybe wouldn't have it in my house, but like, you know, look at it. You're like, okay, I like that it exists. It pisses some people off. Some people like it. Some people just don't really care. You know, it's at least it's doing something. I don't know. What am I talking about? Basically, Jared Bowen's song. You know, they won the Conference League, and that song has been doing the rounds. Jared Bowen's on fire, and he's shagging Danny Dyer. Who? The classic theme. I feel like Will Griggs made that song really pop for British footy. That was the first time I ever hearing it big time. Will Griggs on fire. Your defense is terrified. Will. It's kind of weird to like football is like this like laddish. Is it not macho? Not really macho. Macho. How you pronounce that? Laddish, kind of guy sort of. The way I think of it is like East End, like blokey bloke, or fat, you know, big tattoo with the badge and my queen and my country on either arm, fat, you know, patriotic, fat, yeah. But they just adopt like UK top 40 chart songs from whatever era, and then just make it into a football chant and just sing it with a geezer voice. So they'll just take like some like disco funk song, or they'll just take like a Beyonce song and then just sing it like to the left, you know, and just but like turn into a football chant. I've always admired that about the English game. You know, partly why I think it is the beautiful game. Things like that just really do make you think. What else has been going on? I mean, poor Tom Holland. This is what you call a segue. The fact I've brought notice to it makes it a bad segue, but I just want to anyway. Take notes, kids. Poor Tom Holland, you know, as well, because the first thing all West Ham fans do is obviously make fun of Tottenham, and now you know, West Ham's whole thing is being, you know, we are massive, and now that, you know, they're singing that loud and proud at the moment, and they've got a European trophy, albeit Conference League, but you know, still European trophy. It's more than Tottenham have mustered. They've been in the competition, didn't even win it. Shambles. And you know, they're calling it, and you know who's a Tottenham fan? Thomas Stanley Holland. Don't ask me why I know his full name. That is it though. So he's not having a good time. On top of that, his new Apple TV series, I think has debuted with 9%. So if you don't know, that would be considered rotten on their scale. I mean, a lot higher would be considered rotten. So that's definitely rotten. I think that's past rotten. That's just sort of, you know, it's almost alive again. It's kind of going full circle. Crazy. Coinciding with him taking a year off from acting now, which he said he was going to do anyway. It was a big heavy role, but you just can't help but feel like these things are related. Not that I don't think he had to have anything to shoot really till next year anyway. Like the next thing he'll probably shoot will probably be Spider-Man, and the Fred Astaire film, which are the things he had penned on for anyway. I doubt a new project would have just crept its way into the gap in between anyway, so there would have been that gap. And it was a heavy role, yeah, sure. So, but also it doesn't help the fact that people are also going to think it's because all of your films you try and make outside of Spider-Man films tank, and it's like, fire the agent, man, fire the agent. But and that's just a funny way to say it. It's not really the agent's fault. I just think Tom Holland doesn't. I mean, for The Crowded Room, he signed on as an actor and an executive producer before he'd even read a script, which, considering his bad run of form, is like, maybe read the script, bro. Script reading, I feel like so important. You look at Daniel Kaluuya, loves reading a script, great at reading scripts. Look at the track record. Look at his form. He's in good form. It's a lot of greens. It's a lot of good movies. Since Get Out, which is the kind of movie that made him blow up to the world, it's genuinely, I went through and checked them all. The lowest rating he's had is at 83%. He's home run, just missed home run, but still, all 3-4 bases. However many, I don't watch baseball. But like in 2 stops, whatever. Or once, you get the fucking point. Yeah, so I feel for him because I like Holland and all, but once upon a time when he first pounced on the scene, it was kind of up there on my list of favorite actors, and then I kind of want him to get back in. I'm really wanting to get back into that list, but you gotta do more than Spider-Man to get in. Otherwise the list is a sham, and we're just doing it off of favoritism here, and we don't do that here. So each time I will for the projects to do well, and they just don't. But it's how it goes, man. And just there's something to be said for always wanting to be a main character, always doing not wanting, but just the leading man thing, like trying to be this whole Tom Cruise type. I don't know, maybe that's what he tells his agents or whatever. Get me roles where I'm leading man in America, because all of his shit, like almost all of it, it's I'm the leading man, I'm the main character, and I'm American, and that's kind of the thing. He's also going really obvious with the roles that aren't Spider-Man, like these really beaten up, distressed characters. You look at The Devil All the Time, less so than these other two, but The Devil All the Time one, then Cherry, and then Crowded Room. And it's kind of like, is he in his Miley Cyrus Wrecking Ball era, where it's like, I'm just trying to do stuff that's so different from Spider-Man? And I think it's actually really good in those films, consider it like he's a diamond in the rough. He's a jewel in the turd. And I think Devil All the Time's not a bad film, by the way. I think it's a decent film, and he's really good in it. As is Pattinson, as is Dudley from Harry Potter. I can't remember his actual name. A lot of good performances in that film. Skarsgård, girl from Little Women, guy from... I mean, Sebastian Stan's in it. He's not got much of a role, though, from what I remember. It's just the police guy. But, yeah, it's just kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, you look at Daniel Kaluuya, we'll look at Daniel Kaluuya and Timothy Chalamet, right? I think are good at reading scripts and picking roles. Yeah, so the ones that got him to blow up were both main character roles. Get Out, Call Me By Your Name. But then you look at next up in his list, you got pretty main character role, but not like a lead. Well, I think what's his name, Laurie in Little Women isn't a lead. It's a supporting role, right? You only really have 2 leads at most, right, in a film. I'd say it's a supporting, although it's a hefty supporting. So you got that in Little Women. You got Lady Bird, which is like a really small supporting role. In that, you've got The French Dispatch, where he's in like 1/3 of a story. You've got Beautiful Boy's the main character one. You've got Dune's the main character one. Trying to think of more. Even the animated film he did for Kid Cudi, he was like a supporting role in that. And then if you look at Daniel Kaluuya, you've got Get Out, immediately then goes into Black Panther, quite a small supporting role in that. God, it's really hard trying to remember people's whole fucking filmography is just off the fucking top of your dome. But you get the gist. It's like, it feels like Tom Holland's just been like, okay, I'm doing Spider-Man, and I'm going to be the main character in this. That didn't work out. Animated movie, I'm going to be the main character in this. That didn't work out. I'll be the main character in this. American accent. It's just like, try some smaller budget stuff. Try and be English. Try and be. I just think you don't need join a project with a great director, a great cast, and just be a character who's maybe in a quarter of the movie at most. That's fine. To be fair, he did the current war. That's one film I can think of, like one though out of like 14 maybe, where he hasn't taken it. And this is since probably Civil War, where he hasn't taken like a lead in role. And Infinity War, that doesn't count. That's the Crowded Room with Benedict Cumberbatch, which is like an electricity kind of Nicholas Hoult, was it? Which was like a failed kind of like electricity war kind of thing, talking about history. But apart from that, it's just been like main character American. It's like try something new. Insanity, same thing every time, different results. We've all heard that 100 times. Which is kind of ironic, right? In a way, not really. Okay. And it's just like, Tom, just try, but different try. I mean, in the near future, we don't see any of that on the horizon. It's more going into more Spider-Mans, which I like him in Spider-Man, so that's cool. But we want Rary, and then he's going into a main character biopic though now, which will feel different on Fred Astaire. That's very hot and cold, whether that'll be good or bad. Director's the guy who directed Paddington. Fred Astaire said never make a film about me before he died. That doesn't help. One of the writers on it wrote Rocketman. They described what the film's going to be. The vibe is going to be a celebration of Fred Astaire's life, which kind of just feels like it was boring then, because if we're just going to like pretend, I don't know much about Fred Astaire's life. I don't know if there was many dull patches or whatever, or like bad times or like personal ones or conflicts from him. But if it's just like that, just feels like a documentary type of thing. Like Christopher Nolan said about Oppenheimer, he didn't want to make the film just attacking Oppenheimer. He doesn't say he also didn't mention if he wants to make the film praising Oppenheimer, but I just assumed he meant he just wants to be neutral. This is the character, we're following him, and you can project how you feel about his actions and stuff, but we're not outwardly just trying to make him look like a villain, even if you think his actions ended up being villainous, right? And it's like, he said, I don't want to do that. These might be two different quotes and stitching together, basically because this ain't a documentary. Like, I'm making a movie, I'm telling a story. Like, I'm not just... So, like, I just feel like if it's just going to feel like a documentary, it's going to be a bad film. Like, if it's just going to be some puff piece, kind of glossy, surface level. Fred Astaire was a great dancer. He was always talented, and let's just show you why he was great. Tom Holland doing some good dancing scenes, but ultimately doing a good accent and, like, nailing maybe the mannerisms or whatever, but it being a really, like, surface level, shallow film. Not shallow, like, in the way that the word shallow means, but just shallow in terms of no depth to it. Then I think it's not going to make a huge splash. I mean, here's the thing: will it win Oscars? Will it? I don't know. I think that at the moment it's tricky. It's hard to call something like that. I think what you really got to be thinking about is, can this just not bomb? Can this just not like be panned by critics like everything else has? And I think whatever you think about Paddington in terms of the vibe of that, if you want that kind of vibe for a biopic, right? That had like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes for a long time. People seem to love that film. He's currently doing Wonka with Charlemagne, so we'll see how people digest that. So it's like, at the very least, it might at least have a film that comes out that is digestible and people like. Whether the critics like it and eat it up and say they want to nominate it, that's a different thing. Maybe we'll get nominated for costumes and music or other production, maybe other stuff like that. But I think at the moment he's not going to be thinking about that type of stuff. He's just going to be thinking of, let me just do a good job and make something that people actually like. Which sounds harsh, but it's just sort of the truth. People are clowning him right now. I see all the time on Twitter. It's just kind of like, when did all of a sudden everyone become anti Tom Holland? I remember when he first was in Civil War, it was like, oh my god, this guy's perfect. He's like witty. He's like perfect. Homecoming, yes, but why is Iron Man in it? Far From Home, Iron Man's in it too much. It doesn't even feel like Spider-Man. Spider-Man 3, oh my god, this is a great celebration. I love this, and it ends perfectly for what a Spider-Man movies should be in the future. But then since then, it's like, oh, he's not even that good. Andrew Garfield and Tobey are way better than him, and now you got Miles, who's better than him. Like, he's just like, oh, he's media. It's just like, all of a sudden, people have got all these hot takes coming out of nowhere for Holland, for the Holland Meister. And it's like, it's just crazy, man. It's like, he was new on the scene, and everyone's like, well, he's great. He's the best one there's ever been. It was like unanimous. And now it's like, actually, we retract this based off nothing really he's done, but just like, Time's a cruel mistress, man. It's a cruel mistress, and I don't know. Maybe is it a part of when people see you at the top and all of a sudden they want to knock you down? It's like Andrew Garfield, about all the jokes and stuff. His films are the worst, whatever. And then it's like, actually, he's low key the best. It's like that unpopular opinion starts to become like a little popular, basically. And now all of a sudden everyone thinks he was the best one. And it's like, can we stop convincing everyone that those? I really tweeted about this yesterday, but that those films were good, because they weren't. There was like good moments at best, basically. And Garfield's a phenomenal actor. What's he in? I've not heard Garfield in a while. Like his name attached to anything in a while. But yeah, no, that's all I got for you today. It's all that's on top of the doom. But yeah, I just thought the Tom Holland stuff I've seen a lot on Twitter, and I just thought it's a real shame, man. It's a real shame. Especially because you can just tell he wants it. He wants sort of to be. Everyone wants to be not to say I want to be respected. Sounds like such a villain thing to say, but just in a simple sense, be respected in what you're doing, and people to rate you and think you're versatile in your craft, you know. And you know, he doesn't even use social media anymore. He's taking a year break from acting. Mental health and all this other stuff that he goes on about, like struggling with. I just said that in such an insensitive way, but you just go and think like, it probably sucks for him right now. Once you saw those reviews drop for Crowded Room, and you get so hyped for it, and you're thinking, I just hope people like this as much as I feel passionately about it, and it just doesn't go for you. And it can't be easy as well when your friends who are also in the industry are like killing it, and your girlfriend is killing it, and it's like he's obviously happy for them. I'm not saying he's jealous or he's like toxic in any way, but like it subconsciously it probably doesn't help. I don't know. But yeah, I just ended this a couple minutes ago. Now I'm still going, so let me end it again. This was 166 or maybe 167. I'm not sure. So see either 167 or 168.
With the kids, and I've got 3 kids, and the geezer was probably on like maximum 20 bags a year. Like the most boring bloke you'll ever meet. Like,